For those eagle-eyed viewers, you probably immediately noticed my wonderful shoe selection for this job. They are a Brooks number 5, 10-year-old running shoe, I believe. The tongues have been flopped out, the laces have been ripped. They used to be my shop shoes. I would change into them when walking into the shop so that I still had shoes on, but wouldn't get the floor dirty. Obviously, today things have changed. By looking at them, you can tell they've been through hell and back. Whenever the pond started filling up, they were the shoes that I had on my feet when I went inside to grab the concrete bags to fill those posts I told you about in the previous episode of the series. And they have since been sacrificed for this project. Whenever this dock is complete, they will surely enough be going in the trash. Obviously, the shoe of choice here would be something steel-toed, like my steel-toed boots. However, as mucky as this is out here, and as many times as I'm having to walk into the water, the best selection was a pair of shoes that would be disposable versus trashing a $150 pair of boots. At some point during this filming, I'm sure you will see me sliding down that bank there. That clay was so slippery, it felt like you were going down somewhere between a blue and a black on skis, but it's not something you'd be prepared for. Some spots were solid and some were slippery, so it would spontaneously become slick. Here you can see me prepping these pier poles for the gangway or walkway, again, however you know it as. I'm prepping these poles for the chainsaw cuts to help cup the 2x12s that we're going to be using for our horizontal supports. There was a ground wire stapled in on some of these piers, so I'm pulling out the staples to remove that ground wire before starting any chainsaw work. Walking up the bank of the pond feels like you're stepping in a full pack of bubble gum with every step. The wonderful thing about this clay is it is watertight. The bad thing about it is when you start sinking into it, it creates that suction effect on your foot, and it dang near rips the shoes off of your feet with every step you take. This actually got to the point where in the evening I pulled these shoes off and realized that I did have blisters on the tops of my feet where the shoe had been rubbing up against my skin all day as I would try and pull my foot out of the ground. I guess that's one of those unrealized costs that you can add in when doing things yourself. Here you can see I'm simply laminating these boards together with some exterior wood glue. This is a Tight Bond. It's the brand that I used for this. I've had good luck with all of their products, interior and exterior, so I went ahead and used them again, and then basically screw them together. If you've ever heard the term glued and screwed, that's basically what this is. as you probably noticed, those 4x4 posts on the outsides here that I'm standing next to on the left side and an identical one on the right side were not there previously. After looking more and more at the dock in comparison to the size of this pond, the actual dock platform looked too small. So I got some 4x4 posts that I had sitting around. Of course, these are pressure treated. And I got my auger, which you'll see in the tractor here, and drilled some 2.5 foot deep holes for these 4x4s, filled them with concrete, and then added the strong tie bracing on each 4x4 top, and then screwed that in to help support a longer double seam 12x12 across the top. Obviously, that single large telephone pole pier post in the middle was supposed to be the start of the gangway, but kind of made a audible decision here just to go ahead and make the dock bigger. I don't think we're going to regret having the dock be larger, but we certainly would have if it was too small to put a couple chairs on with a fire pit. So the idea here was to make that dock bigger, and we did so by stretching out our support posts with these 4x4s. Now you can see me adding more of this lateral bracing, tying it into that center large pier that we had already set in the ground. My neighbor Brian came by in that white truck down our driveway and gave me a much needed break for the day. But you can see here I'm finishing up that lateral brace. And keep in mind the water is still filling this pond from all the runoff. If you take a mental note of where the water hits those posts in that picture, if you see in this picture, it is all the way up past where I was working on those lateral posts. You'll also see that all these hanger ties right there. There's 3. Those are all strong ties that you can pick up from your local Home Do It store. I use those to help secure all of the joists that'll be running across. They help with uplift as well as they help me keep everything square. You can see that I have some single cinders as well as some concrete block. These thick blocks, they're about 3 inches thick, 8 inches wide, and 16 inches long. I'll be using these for the joists to have something to land on as they hit the shore of the pond. So this will be a constant for those boards to rest on top of. One thing to keep in mind is whenever you do have a board that hits concrete like this, again, concrete wicks moisture. We've talked about that before. Put some joist tape underneath there as well to keep that layer of protection between your pressure treated board as well as the concrete. That'll prolong the life of your deckway. You can see water still draining into this pond almost 12 hours after the rain stops. Everything's floating. There's those cinder blocks that we could see yesterday. What I'm weighing out right now is whether I got the cojones to walk in that water and anchor all of these floating habitats that we set up. We ran out of cinder blocks, and so I thought what I did was gonna work. And that's not proving to be true because there's something floating over here, just out of frame. That one over there tipped over, and we had another one over here tip over. So they all need anchors. So what I've done is string up some cinder blocks. That way, cinder block and then the rope each side of the log that's floating, and suck that back down to the bottom of the pond. Hoping that works and keeps them in place. After that second run to Home Depot to pick up those blocks, we had already had water in the pond. So this is the best way to do it that I know. There's no way of pumping this water out. We estimate 600,000 gallons already in this pond off of 2 rains, total of 2.5 inches, but this area catches all the water. Yeah, it's gonna be cold, but next week we're in the 20s at night, and I don't want to touch this water when that temperature drops that low in the evenings. it's going to make it even more miserable. So anyway, that's what I'm contemplating now. We'll see how it goes. No specific knot being used here. Heard that if you can't tie a knot, tie a lot. So that's what I'm doing. It's pretty cold. If I haven't suffered from some kind of thermal deficiency, we will be back at this next episode where we're working on the dock. Hopefully getting the rest of the joist set in those strong tie hangers, as well as starting the deck boards over the top so that we can get this dock functional so we can start enjoying it and watch this pond fill up. We appreciate you guys watching our videos, and we'll catch you on the next one.